picking up right where we left off. Because I have to know what happened now.
I am Prince Blueblood.
We don't give a fuck!
I hope you realize that these are not minor offenses you are confessing to.
I am well aware, Your Honor, but I refuse to just stand by and let Coco take the blame for this murder.
Thank you, Suri. Thank you.
Don't misunderstand me. I've not been moved by your
Right, sure you haven't.
I don't want to have to owe you or that attorney any favors in the future.
Of course.
Right, sure.
Well then, witness, please proceed with your confession.
And I promise, before I start recording the next case,
That night, I went to the theater of my
I
own
will sort out
volition.
the camera position
I
and
was there
everything.
to steal the fabric, as Mr. Wright predicted, and yes, I attacked Coco in the process.
But the fabric's existence was only known to Coco, Overall, and Playwright, and those whom they told. How did you come by this knowledge?
I can't say.
Why not?
The letter.
Look, I just can't, okay? Don't ask about it anymore, or I will be withdrawing my confession.
Very well. Although I can't help but be curious. So, what exactly happened?
The
after
letter
you
she
entered
talked
the
about.
theater?
I went to the theater through the back door, just like you said, and made my way to the dressing room. There were two ponies in there, Coco and Overall. I kept my eyes on the room and the surrounding area, waiting for an opportunity to take the fabric. After Coco left the room, I hid behind a curtain so that I would not be seen. Overall was still in there, but I figured this would be the best chance I had to steal the fabric. I waited until his back was turned and then entered the room. I quietly picked up a wooden roll that was sitting on the table and began rolling up the fabric that had been left out.
I see. But to actually manage to sneak in and roll up the fabric, something else must have captured Overall's attention. Something to keep him occupied long
Yeah.
enough to allow for Suri to do what she did. I doubt she would have been successful otherwise.
He went to talk. He went to talk to the director. He went to talk to the director, and the director was really sly about it. He wouldn't wouldn't say exactly what they talked about.
But Overall noticed me as I was leaving, and he started chasing me. I bolted for the back door, but I noticed Coco Palmel coming back to the dressing room. Before she had a chance to see me, I went straight for the catwalk, hoping that Overall would be slow climbing up so that I could escape. The lights came on as I turned the corner, but I paid them no mind and
Lights
kept
came on
running.
as she turned the corner.
As soon as I reached the end of the catwalk, I heard a loud bang behind me. And when I looked back, Overall was just gone.
That lines up with what Coco said.
But he was just chasing you. How could he have just disappeared like that?
I was just as lost as you are. I was happy that he wasn't chasing me anymore, but that noise worried me. So I went back to see what had happened. I started hearing screams of terror from the audience. With my worries growing, I looked down and what I saw was Overall's body hanging from the catwalk.
What in the...
What?
He didn't kill himself. Did he just trip and fall into the noose?
Witness, are you saying that the victim was hanged during your chase?
It sounds crazy, I know, but that's what I saw.
Or was some
I was
pony
about to
waiting
run
on the
for back
catwalk?
door before the police
But
had
how
a
would they
chance
know he
to
would go up
arrive,
there?
but as I was looking down at the body, Coco had come up on the catwalk as well. I was freaking out. She was wondering where Overall was, and she started moving towards me. I didn't know what to do, and I was too afraid of being caught stealing his fabric and possibly being seen as a killer. So I took the fabric roll and I swung it as hard as I could on Coco's head and knocked her out.
This cannot be.
It was at that point that a certain thought occurred to me. I can use this. I can frame her. Get back at her for everything.
What?
So you really were trying to plant the whole thing on the defendant?
Coco and that prissy unicorn Rarity! They both ruined me. I was seen as a cheater in the fashion world. I was humiliated. I wanted payback. So I removed the fabric from the roll as I was still intending on keeping it. However, in my haste to remove the fabric, I accidentally tore a piece of it off in the process.
How did you do that?
I think the answer to that question would be because of the exposed splinters on the fabric roll. Correct?
You got it. A bit of the fabric got caught on a splinter and tore off as I unwrapped it.
It has to have been an
I tried to catch it
accident,
before it
right?
fell, but it was too late. Luckily, it went
No
unnoticed
pony
thanks
was
to
up
the
there
panic
to
as
have
a
done
result
anything
of
to
the
it.
hanged body. Once I had the fabric off the roll, I shook off some of the glitter onto Coco's hooves and placed the fabric roll itself between them.
That would explain why the glitter left on the catwalk was in a pile. You quickly dropped it in one place instead of wasting precious time by spreading it about.
That's right. After I'd covered both Coco's hooves and the fabric roll in glitter, I placed the roll in Coco's hooves to complete the picture that Coco had attacked and hung the victim. Finally, I fled down the left side of the catwalk and left the building.
Leaving a trail of footprints and fluorescent paint behind you for us to find.
I didn't even know that paint was on the fabric in the first place. I only found out when it was brought up during this trial. I didn't really pay attention to what Coco and Overall were working on in the dressing room, and the lights were on when I stopped running on the catwalk. I was completely unaware I had left any prints. Even after I got home, I wasn't aware of the paint. The rain must have washed it off my hooves and the fabric.
And this is the full truth this time, right, witness?
Yes, every last thing I saw and did that night.
What the hell happened? It had to have been an accident. That's the only... Unless it was the director, but I don't see how.
So there, Mr. Wright, you have my confession. I stole the fabric, attacked Coco, and framed her for murder. Now the ball's in your court to save her.
Very well. Thank you for your cooperation, Miss Palomar.
Don't lose any sleep over it.
As much as I hate to be the bearer of bad news to you all, this proves nothing. The defendant is still the only one who could have committed the crime.
God, I hate you, Blue Blood. I fucking hate
Then
you.
you must not have been listening to the confession at all, Prince Blueblood. If you had been, it should be clear that there's no way Coco was responsible for this.
Explain then, if you can.
According to the confession that was just given, not only was Coco not even on the catwalk when the victim was hanged, but Miss Palomar herself admitted just now that it was she who covered the defendant's hooves in glitter.
No!
And
That's what happens
if
when you're a
that's the
dumbass,
case,
Blue Blood.
then it's impossible for Coco to have been the one to leave the traces of glitter on the noose. That, in conjunction with her exact whereabouts at the exact time of the murder, should prove beyond any doubt that Coco Palmel is innocent.
What happened?
No! No!
Order! Order in the court! Mr. Wright, you...
Objection! This is impossible! Human, if neither pony could have murdered Overall, then who are you proposing is the true culprit?
Blue Blood asking
There
the
was
real
no
question.
one else on that catwalk who could have done it!
Are you certain about that?
Huh?
Aren't you forgetting someone? One other pony that was on the catwalk at the time of the crime.
But he didn't kill himself. He couldn't have. Why would he do
No.
that?
You can't be serious!
Mr. Wright, are you suggesting...
It had to have been an accident.
It seems as though we finally arrived at the truth, as much as I don't want to believe it, or even fully understand why. This is the only possibility left.
I am, Your Honor.
Phoenix, you aren't going to...
The one responsible for taking the victim's life was the only other pony who was at the crime scene when he was hanged.
And that, of course, would be the victim himself. Overall concept.
What the?
Hello?
Nice!
Order in the court! Mr. Wright, have you completely lost your mind? Are you
It
suggesting
had to have
that
been an
the
accident, not actual,
committed
not
suicide?
suicide. He had no reason.
That's exactly what I'm suggesting.
Objection! Are you crazy? There is nothing in the evidence or testimony that suggests suicide.
I have to agree here, Phoenix. Murder is already rare enough in Equestria, but suicide? That's entirely unheard of.
I figured as much. But despite how improbable it may be, it's the only logical conclusion I can think of that can solve this case.
Logical? How can you even call this logical? I have a good explanation for this, human.
Although I can't claim to know why the victim would do this, I can hazard a guess to what happened that night. Overall concept, after chasing Miss Polymere up to the catwalk, grabbed the rope that was prepared by the state.
It doesn't make sense.
Wrapping it around his neck, he jumped over the
Why? He's chasing her to stop her from stealing it. So why did he just suddenly decide, fuck my life, and hang himself?
On the catwalk at the time of the crime.
It had to have been an accident. It's the only thing that actually makes sense.
Then it could have only been the victim himself.
Unless there was someone else there.
Your delusions have utterly ruined your sense of reason, human. Time to bring you back to reality. The victim was unconscious.
And then there's that.
Blow to the head at the time of his death. Are we meant to believe that he committed suicide while he was unconscious?
Of course not. But we may have made an incorrect assumption regarding this blow to the head.
What do you mean?
We all came to the conclusion that the victim was unconscious because he was knocked out by someone. But that's where we were wrong. It wasn't because he was attacked. He was knocked unconscious after hitting his head against something as he was falling.
What?
What could the victim have even hit his head on?
Might I suggest he hit the back of his head on the catwalk railing? He must have not jumped far enough and received a pretty nasty bruise as a result, which knocked him unconscious.
How outrageous! And I suppose you have something to support that claim?
The clang that Suri, Coco, and Playwright heard. It was the sound of the victim's head colliding with the railing.
Objection! You can't be serious, human! This theory of suicide is completely baseless. I demand to see real, physical evidence that points to this ridiculous assertion being the truth.
I have it right here.
Take that!
The autopsy report? Does that prove anything?
Right here, where it says the victim had traces of glitter on his forehooves.
So what? That doesn't prove anything.
Prince Blueblood, what's the matter?
He's finally realized the truth, Your Honor. As we've established, there are traces of glitter around the noose. The two ponies who were most likely to have left glitter on it could not have done so. The lack of fluorescent paint clears Ms. Polymere, and the noose had already been thrown off the catwalk by the time the defendant
So it
arrived.
wasn't just hanging
Not
then.
to mention, Ms. Polymere admitted that she was the one who coated Coco's hooves in glitter after the victim died. Therefore, there was only one other pony who could have left glitter
Why?
on the noose.
Why just suddenly stop and go,
Who had traces
fuck it all
of
and
glitter
just
on
jump
his
like
hooves
that?
and went up the catwalk at the time of the crime. Overall concept.
Something called him away
Haven't
when
won
Suri went
yet.
in to steal it.
You still haven't explained why the victim would take his own life. He was living happily and was even planning to propose to the defendant. And on top of all of that, if he was planning on committing suicide, why do it in the middle of a play in front of thousands of ponies in the audience?
Is he trying to ruin the director?
You don't have an answer, do you?
God, I hate that. Stop that. I don't know which one I hate more.
You're right.
That or the
I don't have an
face.
answer why the victim decided to commit suicide. But that's not something that needs to be determined here and now.
What?
The purpose of this trial was to ascertain whether or not
Phoenix is right.
Coco Palmel was guilty of
Why
the
he
murder
did
of
it
overall
isn't
concept.
necessary to find
Through
out
the
right now.
testimony and evidence that's been presented, I'd say the answer to that question has been made abundantly clear by now. As for why the victim chose to end his own life, I'd say that's up to the police to investigate and discover the truth behind that mystery.
As much as I share everyone else's confusion, I have to agree with the defense.
What? You're actually going along with this?
There is simply no other explanation, I'm afraid. I would like to request that the police continue their investigation in order to uncover further information regarding this supposed suicide. As for Surrey Polomere, you will be placed under arrest for perjury, theft, and tampering with the crime scene.
And assault. Don't forget that.
Whatever. It sure beats getting sent to the moon.
Or
Just
Tartarus.
make sure that sentence isn't too long. I have dresses to work on, okay?
God, she's incorrigible.
Well, Mr.
She did the right thing, though.
Even in another world, you haven't lost your knack for taking a seemingly ordinary murder case and turning it onto its head. Not bad for your first time back in Equestria, I must say.
Oh, thanks, Your Honor.
Admittedly,
I can't tell if he's complimenting me. Or
this case was a lot more straightforward than Turnabout Storm was.
I wish you would stop for a moment. I'm an old man. I don't know how much more of this my heart can take.
Yes. Sorry, Your Honor. Okay, maybe he is calling me out.
But as of right now, I think it's time I hand down my verdict in the case of Miss Palmel.
No! No! How can I lose? How can I lose?
Grow a bit of fucking humility, Blue Blood. God damn it.
Perfect win streak! No!
How many ponies did you send to jail, Blue Blood?
And what a bumpy ride this trial was.
In the case of Miss Coco Palmel, I find the defendant
Nice.
Court is now adjourned.
Whoa, now that was an ending I certainly didn't expect.
But you still managed to pull through. Congrats, boss. And you too, Twilight.
Yes! Thank you so much, Phoenix. You saved Coco.
All in a day's work, Rarity.
Woo! Daddy wins the case once again. But of course, is there ever any doubt?
Trucy, there's no need to shower me with praise. Honestly.
But it's true. I can never count you out in trial. And you sure taught that prince not to underestimate you in there.
It was so satisfying seeing him fall apart. Especially after going after my dear Coco. Oh, here she comes now.
Hello, every pony.
Hello there, Coco.
Coco! Congrats on getting your acquittal, dear.
Thank you, Rarity. I'm very glad.
She's sorry about Surrey, isn't she?
Why the long face, darling?
This joke again?
Well, I'm happy that I'm off the hook,
Hmm.
but I'm still sad about Overall passing away. Especially now that I know how he really died. How could he just do that to himself? Was something hurting him? Was it me?
God damn it.
Miss Palmel? Yes? I've studied analytical psychology, so I want to give you my opinion. You were absolutely not responsible for what happened to Overall. Of can't know that!
You mentioned earlier in the trial that Overall had a bout of depression following the death of his parents, right?
Well, yes. But that was years ago, and he never seemed upset once we started living together.
It's not uncommon for someone to have periods of depression separated by years where they feel and act perfectly normal. I think Overall may have been suffering from it without anyone realizing. Granted, we can't know for sure, but that's what I think anyway.
Even still, he probably isn't happy with me.
That couldn't be farther from the truth, Coco. Remember this ring Overall was going to propose to you with? He clearly was at his happiest when he was with you. It's true, we may not know his true reasons for ending his own life, but I know that you were not the reason.
Or why he decided to do it so suddenly while just chasing a
Talking
thief.
more, probably been more involved in his designs. If only I didn't leave the dressing room, he would have stayed alive. If only I...
Hey, calm down.
Huh?
Take a breather. You'll hurt your vocal cords yelling like that.
Okay.
Listen, you shouldn't blame yourself for Overall's death. There was nothing you could have done.
But if only I were with him the entire time, then he would have...
But it happened anyway. I understand what you're going through. You thought you could have done something to prevent losing a loved one, but the entire situation was beyond your control. You shouldn't put the burden on yourself. You'll never be able to live in the present if you stay in the past. Besides, in some way, your friend still lives on.
What do you mean?
He may be gone, but his spirit isn't. He was a teacher to you, right? If you learned from him, you're allowing his techniques to live on as well. So in some way, he's always with you.
Of course. Overall was teaching you his ways, and I know you've learned so much from him. Now it's up to you to carry on his legacy. Even though he's gone, I know you'll make sure he is never forgotten.
Thank you, Mr. Wright, Rarity, and, what are your names?
I'm Apollo Justice.
And I'm Athena Sykes.
Thank you. All of you, thank you so much. I think I feel a little better now. But I don't know how we could possibly live up to Overall's expectations. He always made sure his designs were perfect. And now that he's gone, all of his assets go to me, including his sketches for new designs. They'll be his final pieces of work and they look fantastic. But once it's my turn to design something, I don't know how I could possibly make something of that caliber on my own. Compared to somebody who played such a big role in the theater industry, I don't know if I'm good enough to do it.
Actually, Coco, you're more talented than you'd let yourself believe.
Clara, what are you doing here?
I just wanted to apologize for thinking that you were the one who killed Overall.
It's quite alright, sir. I was the only one up there after all.
I know, but this human proved otherwise. Coco, I know you think you may not reach Overall's expectations, but I believe you'll do fine. You were under his wing, after all.
But sir, he was so much more skilled than me. I don't see...
Miss Pommel, I need you to listen to me. During this trial, I've seen that perfection isn't always the best thing to aim for. While it's nice that you can believe that you can achieve something great, the sacrifices you make to get there aren't always worth it. In fact, it may have been partially my fault for Overall taking his own life.
What? Why?
I was so obsessed with making my plays perfect that I never realized how I've often mistreated my staff members. Without a doubt, this applies to both you and Overall. I was a terrible leader. So, from now on, instead of striving for perfection, I will do my best to achieve something greater that all of us can be proud of. Not just for me and you, but for the rest of the staff as well.
Playwright,
Overall told me time and time again that your skills had even surpassed his own. In fact, when he came on stage during intermission that night, He wanted to talk to me about letting you design costumes for the show after the next. He said that it was time that your own work became known and that this was a perfect opportunity. At the time, I said I'd think about it, but admittedly I was going to reject his request. However, that's all changed now. In honor of Overall's last wish to me, I hereby promote you, Miss Palmel, to head costume designer for Broadway Theater.
Oh, sir, thank you! I will do my best to make sure that my designs will be the best they can be!
I'm sure you will. That twinkle in your eye, you're really just like Overall, you know? Come on, let's get back to the theater. I want to make sure the staff knows you are all right.
Of course, sir! We still need to make some costumes for the next play anyway. And I certainly will have my own ideas to implement.
That's the spirit, darling. And once you do design some of your own clothes, I'd be happy to sell them in my store for you. I could even use some of Overall's special fabric as inspiration for my next clothing line, if you'll allow me to have some.
Of course, Rarity. Anything for a dear friend. Well, see you later, every pony.
Definitely manages to get
And there they
an
go.
emotional feeling going, like the first one did.
What's wrong, Twilight?
Oh, it's nothing. I'm just glad to see Coco so happy.
I know, right? I can hear a lot of happiness coming from her. Playwright did a great job cheering her up. I can hear lots of happiness from him as well.
I must confess I've actually never seen Playwright this happy before.
Really?
You see, Playwright hasn't always been in the best of moods. At least whenever I visited the theater.
Well, he did say that he's always been striving for perfection. I can only imagine the emotional stress he puts himself in, day out.
It did. His never-ending desire to achieve perfection made him so stubborn and short-tempered. And it put the staff under a lot of
Perfection
stress.
doesn't exist.
I was very upset with how unfairly he treated every pony.
Chasing it,
The element of generosity, I can understand
chasing
why
it just
that would
leads
upset
to
me.
pain and stress.
This is the first time he considered the well-being of others. He was only ever remotely happy when he thought he was close to perfection. I've never seen him show this much sympathy for any pony else.
Showing sympathy to others is an easy way to let them know that we care about what happens to them. Bringing negative emotions to your peers will only spread more negativity, and that leads to an unhealthy environment. This tragedy must have given him that revelation.
He looked like a very different pony, and I'm happy that he's changed for the better.
And Coco seems to be a lot stronger, too.
And I'm so proud of her for that. Now she's off to forge her own path. I can't wait to see what else she has to offer the fashion world.
Yep, it seems as if everyone is moving on to bigger and better things. Although I can't help but feel a little unsatisfied with the way the trial ended.
Unsatisfied? What do you mean?
Well, there were still some unanswered questions at the end of it all. The most notable one being,
Yeah.
why did Overall Concept take his own life?
That's something I can't begin to fathom. Overall was certainly a very happy individual. Even with depression possibly being a factor, his life seemed to only be getting better and better. With his fame, job, and even some pony he cared enough about to want to propose to them, he never seemed like the kind of pony to even consider suicide.
It makes me wonder, too. But unfortunately, there's no clear answer. Let's hope that the police can investigate further and find out the truth soon.
I suppose. But hey, you showed that prissy prince who's boss. I definitely enjoyed myself seeing his face as he smelled defeat.
Yeah, he's quite the character, isn't he?
Mm.
Oh, that reminds me. Twilight, I have a question for you.
What is it, Phoenix?
You said that Prince Blueblood was prosecuting for experience when he can rule a kingdom, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And as princess, you're able to stand in court as an attorney as well, correct?
Yes,
So, What I'm trying to understand is, why did you feel the need to summon me when it seems as if you could have handled this whole situation yourself?
Huh?
I know you're capable of doing it. You saved me quite a few times in court today. You've clearly been studying law for a while now, even if this is your first real time practicing. In fact, didn't you say that ponies who are of royalty need experience in upholding the law? Considering you're a princess, doesn't that technically mean you have an obligation to represent Miss Pommel?
Oh, well, it's just... when Rarity told me the story, I didn't exactly have a lot of time to think about who would represent Coco, so I just summoned you.
That doesn't really make sense, Twilight. Summoning me would have meant you would have had to gone through the trouble of getting an equestrian attorney's badge ready again. Also, the one accused of murder is a friend of your friend, and considering you're the princess of friendship, that's more of a reason to take on the case yourself. You did say that you've been studying law ever since you became a
Twilight
princess.
is an insecure thing.
The more I think about it, the less I understand it. If you appear so capable of taking on a case, why did you feel the need to summon me?
Oh! Shit.
Cyclops?
I was wondering. We hadn't run into any of those throughout the entirety of this.
What does this mean? What is Twilight trying so hard to hide from me?
Celestia was hiding something too. Remember at the end of Turnabout Storm, I remember.
Where in the world did you come from, Pinky?
Ask my parents.
Hey, Pinky. Hey, Trucy. Oh, Pinky, where were you sitting in the gallery? I didn't see
Oh,
you.
she wasn't.
I was with Fluttershy and Applejack, so she certainly wasn't with me.
She wasn't with me, Apollo, or Trucy either.
Yeah. I was late. Late? This is clearly an important trial to us. I know Rainbow had some wonderful dessert business to attend to, but how could you possibly be late? I slept in.
Of course.
I couldn't help it. I had one of those really fun dreams, and I didn't want them to stop. So I tried sleeping some more.
I've done that before.
Doesn't this pony have a day job? How has she not been fired already?
Hey, I have a job. I'm in the Chicky corner helping the cakes make cakes. And I'm also a party extraordinaire. So I help throw parties that'll shake your flank all night.
With the amount of energy it takes to party that hard, it makes sense that you sleep for so long.
So why did you come to us, Pinky?
Don't you remember, Feeny? Congratulations on winning the trial party.
Boy.
Oh, you already have that party ready?
Yep, sure did. I already got the cakes, the drinks, the guests, and decorations ready. I even brought a DJ to the party too.
Final!
Cakes, drinks, guests,
And decorations? And even a DJ? This party is gonna be wild!
This sounds like a very stacked party. When did you get everything prepared?
I got it prepared as soon as I woke up.
wow, that must have taken forever
Nah.
to prepare.
It wasn't hard. I do this all the time.
Wait, hold on a second. I thought you slept in. How did you get the time to prepare a big party like that?
And by doing it quickly, silly.
Don't
So then,
question
when
it.
did you wake up?
A couple of hours ago.
Wait. Doesn't it take a couple of hours to get to Manhattan from Ponyville?
Uh-huh.
But I thought you said you woke up a couple of hours ago.
I sure did.
Stop questioning it.
But that means the second you woke up
You fully prepared a big party
and caught the train here.
in a matter of minutes?
Yep, sure sounds like it.
But that's...
How were you able to prepare a party that big in such a small span of time?
Don't
I told you, Polly, by doing it quickly.
don't question it.
What?
You'd be amazed at what this Pete Mare is capable of, Apollo.
She just has great work ethic, Polly.
Right.
You could learn a thing or two from her.
Sure she
Give me a
does.
couple hundred clients and maybe I'll consider taking lessons.
Boss, does this pink pony have time powers? There's no way she's capable of that.
Nah, that's just Pinkie Pie being Pinkie Pie. You better just get used to it.
But what does that even mean?
Just trust me on this. It's for your own sake.
As if this world isn't testing it enough.
Hey, Pinky, if you want, I'd like to have a magic performance at your party.
A human doing a magic show? That sounds exciting! I've always wanted to see a human do magic.
I'm the best magician in the city where I'm from. I can guarantee you all a good show.
Well, that sounds like
But
a
yeah.
wonderful time.
I'm certainly looking forward to it. Hopefully, I don't get forced to dance until I throw my back out.
Come on,
Celestia
let's
was hiding
get to
something
the party.
in the last
Right behind
the
you,
last
Pinky.
one that had to do with basically it
And as
wasn't
quickly
an
as it
accident that Phoenix got brought
Case
to
came
Equestria.
to a close.
It was something she
Threw a
had
party
planned.
for all of us to celebrate, and it was actually very enjoyable. Like a little vacation, it was a nice change of pace from what I usually do after a trial. Unfortunately, this little moment of sunshine and rainbows wouldn't last forever. Unbeknownst to us, something darker was lurking in the shadows of this colorful world. Something that teased at a broader mystery. And little did any of us realize that during our carefree celebration, that mystery would continue to unfold not too far from us. It's a mystery I won't soon forget, as it brought me to someone that I thought I would never see again. Someone who's the spitting image of a dear friend I knew a long time ago.
Yeah. The pony from the first one, Sonata, was. She reminded him of someone he loved and lost. I can't remember her name now. Maya? I think Maya. Hold up. Yeah, Thespio was Judge, Wubcake was Twilight. Pretty Pegasus Wings is Coco Pomel. She did a very good job. Very, very good job. What was the other one whose voice I recognize? Oh yeah, Suri. Same person who voiced Athena, okay. A Doxographist VA. Don't recognize that name, but they're very good as well. Credits are actually going quite a ways on this one. But yeah, Celestia was hiding something as well. She had like I think 6 Cyclops on her, and now Twilight's hiding something. Maybe Twilight knows about what Celestia was hiding now, because she's a princess now. Maybe Celestia let her in on the secret. I'm considering at this point, there's something at the very end, a final cutscene. We'll see what that is. I'm seriously considering at this point, going and cleaning up a bit, shaving and all that, and checking in with my partner and so forth, see if she's up yet. If so, I'll probably run spend the day with her. But if she's not, I might go ahead and record the first part of Case 2, because I'm really hyped now, because this is really good stuff. This is like awesome, and I really want to keep going. Okay, let's see this final cutscene. One year ago, Ponyville Prison, solitary confinement, number 13.
Now Knock, knock. Rise and shine, inmate. Guess what day it is? That's right. As of today, you're a free mayor. It must feel nice to finally be out after 8 months.
Cool.
Right, well, you're lucky that human defense attorney proved that you didn't murder any pony. You probably would have been banished to the moon if you hadn't.
Wait.
As for your possessions, just these. You left them back in the courtroom. Well,
Sonata.
This is it.
It is, yeah, it's Sonata.
I want to ask you something. Now that you're out, what are you gonna do?
I'm going to help those that need it, just like he did for me.
Next time, Crusading for a Turnabout. Okay, yeah. So yes, I see Will in there. For any of you who don't, well, obviously you wouldn't know. Yeah. Pony Bro, I guess, is probably one of my favorite pony reactors. I was there when he first started reacting. Well, I dropped in shortly after he first started reacting to the series due to Bernie Axe's shout out. Watching his reaction to the series was a nostalgia trip for me because I was kind of late coming into the fandom as well. Like kind of late. I came into the fandom in 2017, shortly after the movie came out. I wanted to see the movie, and I was like, I have to catch up on the series first because I don't want spoilers. Turns out the movie didn't really spoil anything newer than season 3, but I didn't know that, so I wound up binge watching all 7 seasons that were out at the time on Netflix. So yeah, I watched everything in like 2 months, and Pony Bro basically did the same thing. And watching him go from this awkward kind of cringing kind of, oh god, I can't believe I'm doing this, to just cheering and weeping by the series finale, it was such a nostalgic trip for me. It was just like watching myself, except I had actually gotten spoiled on some things beforehand due to fan art and fan music and stuff that I had started getting into before really watching the show. He was fresh. He knew nothing, and we made sure that it stayed that way. Like it was like a concerted effort on the part of all of us watching to make sure that he knew nothing. That maybe he got like hinted at about things, about stuff to keep in mind or to keep paying attention to, but he knew nothing regarding the show. And seeing his reaction to like Twilight becoming a princess or the CMC getting their cutie marks especially was awesome. And watching his reactions to fan content was also really cool. Yeah, I guess you could say he's kind of an inspiration for me wanting to react. Do a reaction channel. So if by some miracle he ever watches this, you're awesome, dude. You are really awesome. But yeah, aside from that, I think I am gonna go clean up, like I said, and then if I have time, it is kind of getting late in the morning, but if I have time, I will go ahead and react to case number 2. I really, really, really want to. But we'll see. We'll see. So for now, this has been Turnabout Theater by the Elements of Justice. Or I guess Elements of Justice is the name of the series, I guess, not the name of the people who made it, but whatever. So yeah, this has been awesome. I am very much looking forward to the future of this because it seems like it's going to be really interesting. It makes it seem like Sonata is going to be trying to work as an attorney as well, and try and, you know, help people, or maybe as a private investigator. I believe her talent was for like finding things. So maybe a private investigator would be more up her alley, but definitely we'll be seeing more of her again. I just hope we get to see Trixie again. I really want to see Trixie. But either way, it doesn't matter. I am just really looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what I can see what happens. And what this darkness is that they're talking about. And also to find out why Overall Concept killed himself, because it just seems so sudden. Like, you know, just this sudden, out of nowhere, like, oh, you're stealing from me. I'm happy. I'm going to propose to the mayor I love, and, you know, everything seems to be looking up for me. And then, you know, oh, you're stealing from me. I'm going to chase you down. And then halfway through chasing her, just suddenly decides, well, guess I'll die then. It just doesn't make sense. So I'm really wanting to know why. Why did he do that? But until we figure that out, I guess this is what it is. So yeah. Without further ado, for now, I will see all of you in the next video, which I don't know what it'll be, because I don't know how I'm going to be uploading these onto YouTube yet, what order anything's going to be uploaded in. I'm just recording right now. I guess I'm just kind of creating this backlog of recorded videos that, you know, I'll start uploading when my internet allows me to. But for now, I will see all of you then at Harmonia Invictus.
Open your eyes, life is all around you, don't have to be so alone. Take a good look at this world you found and breathe, now you're finally home.